Hello, physical science students. And in this video, we are going to talk about using sound. We're going to look at how sound waves can be used to locate objects, to form images, and to treat medical problems. Before we look at those uses, something to think about. Have you ever been in an auditorium and been listening either to music being played or a speaker giving a speech, and when the sound stops, when the speaker stops, when the musicians stop playing, their sounds linger for a couple of seconds. That's because the sounds and their reflections reach your ears at different times. So you hear little echoes, and this echoing effect produced by many reflections of sound is called reverberation. Reverberation can ruin a performance. So we have what is called acoustics. You've heard of that word before. Acoustics literally means the study of sound. It's important to study sound so that you do not have reverberations that ruin a performance in your auditorium. To prevent some of that, people design concert halls very specifically with size, shape, and furnishings in the room so that they are affecting those sound waves in the way that they want to. Have you ever been in an empty room like this one, or let's say a full room where there's a carpet on the floor and your bed and all your clothes thrown all over the room and curtains and things on the wall? All of those different cushioned items help control reverberations in this room because they are likely to absorb the sound energy. However, when it's time to move and you box all of those things up and put them in boxes, and the room now has many surfaces that are more likely to reflect the sound waves, you stand in this room and talk and you hear those reverberations. Now let's talk about using sound to locate objects. Most species of bats depend on this phenomenon called echolocation. Echolocation is the process of locating objects by emitting sounds, as this bat is doing, and then interpreting the sound waves that are reflected back from those objects. So the way this works, the bat emits sound waves. Some of the sound waves are reflected off this moth. The bat then determines the moth's location and velocity from those reflected sound waves, and it continues to emit sound waves and locate the moth until the moth is captured. There is some evidence that some species of moths may be able to jam a bat's echolocation by emitting their own sounds that confuse the bat's echolocation system. Sonar is another way that sound can be used to locate objects. It is a system that uses the reflection of underwater sound waves to detect the objects. First, a sound pulse is emitted toward the bottom of the ocean. And the sound travels through the water and is reflected when it hits something solid. Once this is reflected, a very sensitive underwater microphone on the bottom of the ship called a hydrophone picks up that reflected signal. Since we know the speed of sound in water, the distance to the object can be calculated by measuring how much time passes between emitting the sound pulse and receiving the reflected signal. So the word sonar actually was used first in 1946, and it comes from sound navigation and ranging, and that's where we get those letters for sonar. Sometimes when the military uses sonar, they will use extremely loud sounds in order to locate submarines or different devices, and sometimes those extremely loud sounds from the military sonar can harm or even kill whales and dolphins. Sonar has many uses. It's used to avoid icebergs. It's used by fishing crews to find schools of fish. It's used by scientists to map the ocean floor. So there are quite a few uses for sonar. Another way that humans use sound is to use very, very, very high frequencies that are called ultrasound. That they would be frequencies above 20,000 hertz. They're so high they cannot be heard by humans. And ultrasound has many uses in medicine. One way ultrasonic waves are used are to examine different soft tissues in the body, like heart, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, spleen, kidneys, breasts, eyes. Another use for ultrasound in medicine is to create ultrasonic images or kinds of medical imaging. And the way this happens is that the medical technician will direct those ultrasonic waves toward the targeted area. One place that we do this a lot is with fetuses, for pregnant women to see what is going on with that fetus. So that fetus would be the targeted area for those ultrasonic waves. And then the reflected waves are used to produce electric signals. And then a computer program converts the electric signals into video images, and we call those video images sonograms. And this is a sonogram of a fetus right there, and that is one way to monitor a human fetus. The wonderful thing about ultrasound is that it does not harm the fetus, and whereas other methods like X-ray would be very, very damaging, and ultrasound itself is not. Another use for ultrasonic waves is in the treatment of kidney stones. When kidney stones are treated with ultrasonic waves, bursts of ultrasound create vibrations that cause the kidney stones to break into small pieces. And the fragments then can pass out of the body with the urine, and this prevents the patient from having to have surgery. So we have a lot of nice medical uses for ultrasonic waves. So advanced ideas. Come up with your own questions, answer them. Here's a few suggestions. There are two different types of sonar systems. What are they and how are they different from each other? Maybe you could find out what the difference between sonar and radar is. How are ultrasonic waves produced so that we can use those ultrasonic waves? Any other ideas? That'd be great. Look forward to seeing you in class and seeing what you have to come up with.